Alrighty. So, let's see. Today is July 11th, and it's been about 6 years since the passing of Satoru Iwata. Now, I remember when this happened back in 2015, I didn't know who the dude was, and I like to have like pretty encyclopedic knowledge about this sort of stuff. And then, I sort of got into trying to attempt to make video games in 2018 with, varying degrees of success. But anyway, so if you don't know who that is, by name, you at least know who he is. I can guarantee you that he's affected your life in some way. One of the most typical sounds I wake up to in the morning is I'll go up in the living room, and in the distance I hear click, 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 click. And I walk into the game room, and it's my brother playing Super Smash Brothers. In fact, just before we did this video, he was doing that, and I had to talk him into doing this. So, you may wonder, what does that have to do with Satoru Iwata? Well, anyway, we'll get to that, but what happened was he was born in the 1950s in Sapporo, Japan, and one day he saw, this game called Game 31. It was a pay-for-play computer, and he was hooked. So he would do anything he could to try to be around computers. In the 70s, he went to this thing in the mall where they sold computers, and he hung out there and learned everything he could. Then a bunch of his friends started this place called HAL Laboratory, and they went on to make games for the Famicom, and he wound up getting the trust of the head of Nintendo back then, and he wound up becoming president of Nintendo. Some of the things he's done notably, he came up with the underwater mechanics for the underwater levels in the first Super Mario Brothers game. He did it for another game called Balloon Fight, but the code worked so well they used it in that game. Other stuff he did was he was responsible for sort of shepherding Super Smash Brothers when it was just an idea that Masahiro Sakurai had. They had no resources to develop it, so he programmed it on the weekend, and Pokemon owes him a debt of gratitude. And because when they were trying to develop Pokemon Gold and Silver, they didn't have enough time to do that and work on Pokemon Stadium, so he studied all the source code from the original game and helped put it into the Pokemon Stadium code. And because of his sort of coding genius, he was able to enhance the capacity of the Game Boy cartridge, and that's how we were able to have Pokemon Gold and Silver have the Kanto region in Gold and Silver. And what do we know about the dude himself? Well, he was pretty much the opposite of Steve Jobs. He knew exactly what he was doing technically, and he was a nice guy, and he never sort of, shark attacked anybody. And he had this idea of, if something's wrong, it's definitely your fault. So he would take that on himself, and when things didn't work out, he owned up to that. The 3DS was kind of his baby, and when that underperformed and when the Wii U didn't work out, he slashed his salary. He was the president of the company because he didn't want to fire anybody. It was just an all-around good dude. And before he passed away, he was able to turn that sort of failure around and go back to he started to make Nintendo profitable again. It's a shame he didn't live to see the Switch, though I'm sure in his final years, that was sort of in the pipe works. And the funny thing is, 6 years ago when they had his funeral, there was this huge typhoon called Typhoon Ninka, and still, like, I think something like 5,000 people showed up. And a lot of people said a lot of things about him. But it was the words of, let's see, where is it? It was the words of Shigesato Itoi that, resonated most, and I thought I'd sort of conclude this video with that. So Shigesato Itoi said, "When I'm parting with a friend, regardless of the circumstances, I find it best just to say, 'See you later, we'll meet again. After all, we're friends. That's right, nothing unusual about it. I'll see you later. You went on a trip far, far away, even though it was planned for many years from now. You wore your best outfit and said, 'Sorry for the short notice,' though you didn't say it out loud. You always put yourself last after you'd finished helping everyone else. You were so generous as a friend that this trip might be your very first selfish act. I still can't grasp what's happened. It feels like I could still get a light-hearted email asking me out to lunch at any moment. After you've made sure lunch wouldn't disrupt my schedule, of course. You can invite me out whenever you want. I'll invite you too. So for now, let's plan on meeting again. You can call me up whenever you like, and I'll give you a call too. I still have a lot to talk to you about. If I come up with any particularly good ideas, I'll let you know. So let's meet again. No, I suppose we're already meeting. Right here, right now. So originally I was going to go to Party City and just get numbers for, like, the age that he died at. But then I saw Pikachu in Super Mario, so I thought, now that's perfect. So if you could come and, like, get an underneath shot. It's like, so, here's to you, Satoru Iwata.